on the behalf of DBARTU and Department of Information Technology. So we have once again a special guest today, who I am going to excited to you to introduce you, because he is one of the alumni of DBARTU, and uh, because right now, so DBARTU Alumni Association are inspiring us to conduct this cybersecurity webinar series in our university. So our today's speaker is Mr. Amol sir. He is the graduate from the DBARTU University, from the Electronics and Telecommunication Department in 2005, and sir has 15 plus years experience in the IT industry, and sir is currently working as a senior network engineer at Qualys, Pune, and sirs mainly work in the network security with practical aspects. So once again, I'm welcoming to all, and let's come with me to joining and welcoming to our expert person, Mr. Amol sir. And once again, I'm welcoming to all my dear students and respected faculties from my department. And again, I'm welcoming to Amol sir on the behalf of department and our behalf of HOD Sudhar sir and our senior professor SM Jadhav sir, and from my teams. Now, so I'm requesting to Amol sir, please proceed your seminar, or you can start, sir. Over to sir.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity. Initially, we thought that we will be in campus, and we will be discussing this topic in computer lab or some lab. Okay, not the presentation and the whiteboard kind of things, because these things we learn a lot from day one of engineering, that computer security and all. Okay, but this is something practically oriented program. Okay, so I'll try my best to give you by present ppts and all. Okay, and every this let me share my screen and we'll start this presentation. This is very simple notepad kind of presentation. Okay. Let me can you share my, I'm not able to share the screen actually.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you able to see the screen now?
No, sir. Have you shared?
Yeah, I'm sharing.
Yes, yes, right now, right now. It is coming. Yeah.
So,
Yes, sir. It is visible.
okay. So network security means what? What is a network? We initially thought that it's a network means a mobile communication or the computer communication. Okay, it's not nowadays. It is not related with that only because of the IoT things and all. Now, the electric cars and all automobiles are having coming up with internet connectivity and all. Okay, even with your fan, your TV, and all this, the device that is connected falls under network. Okay, and to protect that communication and data, there are two types of data actually. One is a moving data from source A to source B, from source A to B. Okay, and there is a still data, non-moving data, which we keep on the storage devices and all. So we need to protect that communication, okay, and protect our data, okay. But what is the base? The entire thing when it comes for IT, when it comes for communication, when it comes for digital, that's 0110 and all. The basic is OSI model only. Okay, we might have gone through a very nice book that Tannenbaum and all. Okay, the OSI is the reference model, and we nowadays we use TCP/IP model for day-to-day life for communication and all. Okay, so everyone knows that what is the OSI model. There are 7 layers of model. There are 7 layers. Okay, physical layers, data link layer, network layer, transport layer. Okay, the session layer, presentation layer, and the application layer. So, and each and every layer we are putting some headers. Okay, each and every.
Sorry for interruption, sir.
Hmm.
Amol sir. Actually, your slide is not moving. Yeah, right now
Okay.
it is moving. Yeah.
So and there are different protocols that work on these layers. Okay. So and what is the protocol? Protocol is nothing but a rule that we are communicating now, and we on this in this webinar, everybody understands this English. Okay. So that's a protocol. If I start speaking in some other language like Spanish or German, you will not understand that. Okay. So to have the communication, we mutually should agree on one thing, that at what speed, at what encryption, kind of encryption or hashing algorithm or keys that you will be using to encrypt and decrypt data at source A and B. So protocol is nothing but this rules. Okay, that we need to communicate, and these are the parameters for the communication. Okay, and it's not like that application is vulnerable. Okay, vulnerable in the sense uh, where the attacker can come in, and that is exploit, means he can misuse that information, and get access to our servers or network, or can use for disturbing our network and all. Okay, so we every aspect of this layer is very important, and we need to protect that every aspect, including the physical let's start with the physical. That's the physical layer. Okay, what comes under the physical is the cabling and the server room. You might have heard about this, data centers and all. So getting into data center will require special permissions and all. Okay, not everyone of our organization or even the network uh, engineering person is allowed to touch the devices physically. There are special teams which can touch your devices physically. Okay, no other teams are allowed, kind of that. So once the physical, that access control is mentioned, then the data link layer, the what is physical layer is nothing but your ethernet cable that we talk about, the fiber connections that we are connecting. Okay, so that is the accessing any devices physically. That's for or this connecting any device physically, that SFP modules and all that comes under 0110, where that transmission happens. That's the physical layer. Okay, data link layer is nothing but the switch that comes, L2 switch that we call. Okay, that works on the MAC address. Okay, so there are different. I have learned that what is a MAC address. So MAC address, let me show you that. It's entirely how to see this MAC address of your computer. Just type ipconfig. If it is a Windows machine, just type ipconfig all. So this is the unique MAC address that you will see, physical address of your machine. Okay, that's the physical, and that's the unique all across the world. Okay, for your machine, and that's the hard coded one. Okay, this is first three. This is 48 bits. Okay, bits. The first three octets are well known for. These are the OEM specific, the vendor specific. Okay, and these are these. We can see that who has manufactured this. So this is a Realtek or a Dell who has manufactured this MAC address, and this is one assigned to my machine. Okay, every machine has unique MAC address. Okay, like and we know about LAN and WAN settings and all. So on LAN, the communication happens with this MAC address, okay? And on WAN, it happens over the IP address. I'll come to this IP address, IPv6. This is the IPv6, and this is the IP version 4 address, okay? So coming to this protocols again, which is very basic. So we need to protect every aspect. So how we will protect that at the physical layer, at the data link layer? There are the switches that I talked about. Okay, we can configure the switch in a such a way that only my machine from particular source should be able to talk. Okay, so when I talk to in internet, okay, I should have some kind of connectivity to the switch, and then the router, and then the firewall and all. Okay, no, yeah, okay. So thing is that this communication within the LAN that happens over the MAC address. Okay, whoever has this MAC address, the frame will come to my PC. Okay, and over the WAN, what is the LAN and WAN is nothing but, when you're talking within a DBA2 lab, that's nothing but your LAN. But when we talk about DBA2 to any other institute or Google or any other website and all, that's the WAN. So going into public, and let's come to this network layer where the IP address segment comes in. IP address is nothing IP protocol. Okay, connecting your machine, any network, be it now it's not related to computer only or mobile. Okay, any machine to internet, you have to have a public IP address. Okay, there are two sets of IP addresses. Okay, one is a public and the other one is a private. Okay, I'll show you that. Let me show you what is the public address, and there is where it is very good practice to read the RFCs for every aspect of the protocol. So there is a RFC of 1918 who says this, public IP address and the private IP addresses. There are three classes of IP addresses. Okay, class A, class B, and the class C. Okay, the class A says that anything that comes from 10.0.0/20/8. Class B, anything that's come from 172.16 to 172.32, and class C is 192.168. That comes under the private IP addresses. You cannot access the internet using the private IP address. Okay, RFC says that any internet service provider will not accept your request unless it is coming from a public IP address. Okay, if you are trying to connect to the internet with the private IP address, you will not get that access. Okay, but now I am having a private IP address, right? 192, I said class C, that's a private IP address, but I am able to browse. I'm able to communicate. We are talking on the Google Meet. How it is possible? So my service provider has temporarily allowed allocated one public IP address for me. So how should I check it? We can check it. What is my IP address? You can see that this is my public IP address now. Okay, this is a temporary IP address over the internet. As long as I'm connecting to the internet for, let's say, there is a time period that the service provider allocates one public IP address to you for that particular time to go on the internet. Okay, and that depends the time period, that we call it a lease period. Okay, some service providers gives you lease period of 8 hours. Some service provider gives you of 2 days, something like that. Okay, and for corporate world, we can purchase, and even we can purchase this public IP address. So when we talk about the Google and any websites and all, they have the fixed public IP addresses, and these public IP addresses are assigned by ARIN. There is one global entity that holds the assignments of the public IP addresses. And these are divided based on the region, like Asia, Africa, America, and Russia. Okay, and above that, in Asia, they have the based on that they have allocating these IP addresses to the nation-wise India, and then in nation there are different major service providers. Okay, like BSNL, Reliance, and all. They are purchasing these IP addresses and they allocate to us via broadband and some tier three service providers. Okay, like U Broadband or something like that. So let's say where this public IP address is in, like as I said, it is very easy to track this IP address where that IP address is in. Okay, as I said, for let's say that AREN international organization who is allocating these IP addresses. Okay, as I said, it is going to then Asia, then Asia to India to a service provider, then the Maharashtra, and then the Pune. So there is one tool that we can use this. Let me show you that also. IP address lookup. So if you do this IP address lookup, you will come to know. So copy and paste is not working. Just a second. Oh, sorry. So I'm in Pune right now. Okay, so it says that it is assigned to continent Asia, it is assigned to India, and it is in Maharashtra, it is in Pune. Likewise, when you do from surfing from Batu, okay, so you will come to know that you are in Maharashtra and you will be something near to Mangaon or Lonere or Maharashtra, and you'll get this broadband who is the ISP that has allocated these IP addresses and all. Okay, and this is being tracked. Okay, every service provider as per the security standards. Okay, international standard, security standard. Every service provider has to have a log collector. So if something goes wrong from my IP address, or so service provider can tell you that this IP address for this time was allocated to this machine with having this MAC address. Okay, this MAC address. Okay, for this period of time, and the data that went from this machine is this. Okay, though it is an encrypted one, service provider won't be able to decrypt. There is a privacy law as well that service provider cannot see what I am browsing in. Okay, and that's my privacy and all. So these are the things that, and you cannot, as I said, though I'm having private IP address, I'm browsing. This is happening because of the public IP addresses and all. Why this is happening? Because of the router. Let me show you that protocol. Okay, so we are at this network layer where the IP addresses and all work. So how this conversion happens from my, how this request comes from any other IP addresses or to my machine using the public IP addresses. From public IP addresses, it gets converted to these MAC addresses, MAC address. Okay, so how this communication happens? There is one protocol, that is address resolution protocol. Okay, and that address resolution protocol gives a data that this IP address belongs to this MAC address, and this is the machine that the data is coming in, and the surfing is happening or not. Okay, I hope you are understanding what I'm doing. If it is going very fast or that you don't understand, if you have any questions, just let me know. Okay. Then there is a transport layer. Any questions till now? No questions. Okay. Then there is a transport layer. There is a TCP and the UDP. You know that TCP is connection oriented. Unless and until the socket is established between source A and B, the communication won't happen. Okay. And UDP is a broadcasting protocol. It doesn't require any kind of connection. Okay. So to protect that, we have firewalls in place in corporate world. Okay, what the firewalls do, that basically it allows the things that you want to communicate. Okay, and rest all is blocked by default. Did you get that? Okay. So let's say I'm browsing. I'm in one organization, and organization needs an access to certain websites. Okay. So I'm allowing that only. Okay. And I'm blocking any other. Like you must have heard that, from DBAR to such free sites. Like let's say, if you're trading, the trading sites are not opening. That means that trading site is blocked. And it is not easy to block all sites. Okay, so we allow certain sites and rest all blocked. But again, there are some categories that you need to have study on it. Okay, so these categories are there. We got to know about these categories from the cookies of this website. Okay, let's say trading, stock trading and all. So we can block that. Let's say when adult site is there that you want us to block. So the cookies will have pornography, something kind of that. Once we that have in place, we can block all these sites. Okay. Let's say we see there is an attack coming from any nation. Okay. Like I said, that IP address lookup. So I don't want the traffic that is coming from China. I want that China traffic should get blocked. Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'll check with the ARIN database what are the IP address range that ARIN has provided to the China. Okay, and I can block that traffic that is coming from China. Okay, so this on this layer, physical on this transport layer, where this traffic that we can block that traffic. Okay, again, that in this network layer, I forgot to mention that there is a huge routing that happens. So internet is very big. There are currently 8 lakhs plus routes over the internet at the moment. Recently, you must have heard that there was an outage happened at Facebook and the Instagram and the WhatsApp. This happened because of the misconfiguration at this layer, network layer, the IP. There is an internet protocol that is called a BGP, that is Border Gateway Protocol. That was misconfigured at their end, but I don't think so. That's the real truth. Okay, that Facebook is hiding something, because if some misconfiguration is because of misconfiguration, your network is going down. The first step for us is to roll back that change. Okay, so might be something suspicious was going with the Facebook for 6 hours, and they don't want to reveal to the internet, to all public. Okay, there could be an attack that happened on Facebook, and because of that, it was down for 6 hours. No, there are most of the companies who will not accept that they were under attack. Okay, because the security measures will come in picture. Okay, that let's say any organization, that no organization will say that we were under attack and this was the attack and we were down for this. Company's reputation will go down. It is very easy to accept that because of our misconfiguration we were down. Okay, so we are not sure about this. Okay, this is there are different types of protocol. The protocol that works under this layer, network layer. Okay, like our mobile communication, we know that mobile communication also goes under this network layer. That's from one tower to another tower. We see it is wireless, but For an engineer, it's wired communication only. From one mobile tower to another mobile tower, there is a black cable you must have seen. Okay, and we run that. We connect that via that substations and all with the black cables, fiber cables and all, and we running multi-protocol label switching. That falls under this category. MPLS that we called. So we can track that as well. So these protocols. And we need to protect these protocols also. Okay, I'll show you how to protect all these, not all, but some of these protocols. Like I said, on transport layer, we have the firewalls that we can block certain traffic and we can allow certain traffic. Okay, and this is a session layer. Session layer is nothing that, I'm coming from source A with the source, this is the IP address. Okay, this is the IP address, and let's say where let's say I'm talking to a person. So these are the connections that are established from my machine. So this could be any of them could be a Google IP address. Okay, so session is nothing but, I'm coming from this IP address. Okay, not this IP address, basically the public IP address that I shown you. Okay, from this IP address with this source. Okay, maybe it is a Google. Okay, on this 443, it's SSL HTTPS traffic, and this connection is established. Okay, so that's the session that is. If at the Google end that TCP stack is full, or he's not able to establish session, communication won't happen. We won't see Google page on our Chrome. Okay, that's the session layer. Okay, then comes under this presentation, this whatever we see at the back end is the computation. Okay, this and this is the HTTP that we are browsing. This is HTTP and HTTPS. These are nothing but the application telnet and all. Okay, so if the basic is the OSI model. When it comes for troubleshooting, when it comes for configuration, when it comes for to present, OSI model is the basic. You need to understand what is the characteristics, what are different protocols, and what are the devices that work at these layers. Okay, when we are under attack. So let's say this is a Trojan attack, or this is a DDoS attack, or this is a zero-day attack kind of things. How you will understand this? There are the applications available in the market readily that will show you that you were under attack because of this. Okay, let's say you don't have access to that application. Most of this application in corporate world, we don't have access to these applications, because unless and until it is approved by corporate or our security team, we cannot install that application in our machine. Okay, let's say, and more than 50% applications are not approved. Okay, so you need to analyze this traffic. Okay, and for that we use Wireshark or protocol analyzers or the IDS, IPS devices to analyze this traffic. Okay, from which source the traffic is coming in and what's the destination. Okay, what is the traffic pattern? What are this protocol that he's trying to achieve and all. So to understand that, we need to understand the OSI model, how it works, the practical. Okay. Secondly, when it comes for security, the CIA, should be coming in our mind. That's nothing but the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. The confidentiality is nothing but encrypting your data. Okay, not encapsulating. Everything is getting encapsulated by default. Okay, or we can encapsulate, but encryption is nothing but there are different algorithms that we use to encrypt the data. Okay, so source A will encrypt the data at his end with let's say advanced encryption system, that is AES. Nowadays there is a AES 256 encryption methods are available, okay, at source A, and source will communicate to source B that I'm encrypting the data with this encryption method, okay. And what is integrity? Integrity is nothing but no, that data is not manipulated in transit. Let's say I am in Pune, I want to send something to Batu over the internet, okay, and the data has to be get encrypted. So maybe I'll use this email communication for this, okay. So let's say I'm where is that Gmail? Okay, so I'm using this Gmail account and all, okay. So this Gmail account will have a certificate, okay, and this certificate, this is the mail.google.com, okay. Every browser will have this public certificate in his machine, in his browser, okay. So data from my PC to Debatu's email box will get encrypted and decrypted using that public, okay. But at the Google side, he will have private key. He can see that, like we know that even though we are using HTTPS and all, how Google will know that Google is the one who is providing, and he has all. You must have heard about that, public key, private key, symmetric, asymmetric key. Google has the private keys for every site that he has publishing over the internet, and he can check any data at any moment for any mailbox, okay. So if he think that this is a suspicious mail, he can look into that, okay. So let's say this is email communication and all, that certificates are used to encrypt the data, okay. But what about corporate world, okay? How we are encrypting that data from, let's say my organization is in Pune, and then the other office is in Europe, the third office is in USA, and it is not possible for us to have a cable between Europe to India and Europe to USA. So we have to use cost-effective solution. That is the IPsec availability. Availability, I forgot. Availability is nothing but data is always available. It should be available. It's not like that you are securing data and for that the data is not available for that end user. It should not happen. Data has to be available all the time, okay. So how corporate worlds we connect to each other, the offices and all, this is via VPN. That VPN is nothing but virtual private network. That virtual in the sense we are using internet, okay, we are building our network over the internet, okay. And there are two types of VPN. One is the site-to-site VPN. Site-to-site VPN in the sense connecting to LAN sites. LAN, the office LAN in Mumbai, the office LAN in Europe, the office LAN in the USA, okay, over the internet, over the IPsec tunnel, okay. And SSL and AnyConnect is nothing but connecting a single machine to the network. So if nowadays, because of the COVID situation, we are at home doing work from home. So this company has provided some VPN solutions to us, AnyConnect VPN, okay, that we install on our laptop, okay, and we have some keys with us, okay, through which we can connect to our network and do our daily jobs and all. So how this site-to-site, how these VPNs work, as I mentioned, the protocol. Site A and site B has to mutually agree on certain parameters for encryption, for hashing, and for authenticity. So we have some keys between us that that keys are not normal, like ABCD or something like that, and that is not human readable, something kind of. These are 128 bits long, huge key. Let's say I'm typing here on the notepad. So I can, this key, so this is the key, okay, and that I'll give to my partner in Europe, okay, and the USA. So whatever data, this key will be this key will not get transmitted over the internet. Okay, this key will be with us. Will not exchange each other over internet. Okay, so this using this key, we will encrypt data. We will build a tunnel. There are two phases inside to site VPNs, phase 1 and phase 2. In phase 1, we will build a tunnel between two offices. Okay, that tunnel is encrypted one. Okay, and through that tunnel, we will forward the data. Again, the data will be encrypted. The tunnel is encrypted itself. Okay, and the data that is traveling through that tunnel is also encrypted. So it is highly impossible for anyone to get into and get that data out from that tunnel. Till now, there is no evidence that IPsec tunnel was breached or something like that. This is very cost-effective solution and very popular solution nowadays to connect to offices, and it is not feasible to have physical cable, and that is not cost-effective. There are service provider who can have a physical layer, direct kind of link, WAN link that we called from my office in Europe, USA, and in India, but that is not cost effective. That is very, very expensive. Then comes out the attacks. There are different types of attack in the network, different kind of attack. So malware, phishing, man-in-the-middle attack, denial of service, SQL injection, zero-day DNS, and all. The biggest challenge on attack is that I know this attack is coming in. Okay, I'm blocking this access. Okay, most of the times these attacks are coming from different countries that we don't control. We cannot control that. Okay, so it's best way to defend, to block this kind of attack, this kind of service request that is coming in. Okay, because let's say the attack is happening from the nation A, where we don't have political relations, and it is very difficult to prove that we have public IP address and all, we have data and all, but it's time consuming and all. So it's better to protect ourselves. Okay, it is very easy to attack, and you'll get caught because we have evidence, we have log collectors and all. Okay, and different types of attack in there. Malware is nothing but it's kind of virus that will spread onto your machine and will encrypt or will try to steal your data, kind of things. Okay, you must have heard about ransomware. Okay, what ransomware used to do is there is one virus kind of attack that will spread across your network, and it will encrypt your hard disk. It will encrypt your data itself. Even it will not let you in your computer. This is your machine. I'm using my machine, but that virus will not allow you to let you in. Even though you are typing your password and all, everything is encrypted. Now, as I said, a person can decrypt it who has encrypted it. So we have to ask that, ransomware who has spread it over the world, he will give you email account that, you need to spend some amount, Bitcoin amount to that, and digital currency, and he will provide key, and then we can decrypt, we can get into data, and we can get into that machine, and we can get that data. Okay. How to avoid that ransomware attacks, kind of all these attacks that continue monitoring of our machine, of our corporate network, patching, upgrading our networks, upgrading our operating systems, every layer of the OSI, and everything of the network which is connected, whether it is printer, scanner, mobile. When we connect to our office via mobile, that mobile can be under attack. Okay, and it's not like attack in the sense, it's not like that everyone will get attacked. Okay, the one which is vulnerable will get attacked. How to find that vulnerability? I'm working with the company who provides this software, or the solution that we scan this network and we say that, this is the vulnerability of your network, and you need to fix this, and this is the fix for that vulnerability. Phishing is nothing you must have heard about. The phishing is that, he will show you that the one that legitimate user has sent you an email, and once you open that, the virus will be in your machine, and it will spread in your lab. Okay, and you won't be able to do your work. Man in middle attack, nothing but, trying to steal your data in the transit. Okay, it will spoof that, you're sending a data to your colleague, or colleague company. Sometimes it happens because in the real world, you are making a connection with your suppliers, with your vendors. Like, let's say Deepa2 is making a connection with his vendors, his suppliers, and that supplier is under attack, and that the attacker has used that supplier's email ID to get that access to your mailbox. Do you get to access of your machine? These kinds of things can happen. So we need to identify whether that this email or these things are coming from a legitimate user or not. This phishing attack and man in middle. Denial of service attack is nothing but, let's say I'm using 100 Mbps pipe at my home. Okay, and someone has to means this that services should not be available over the internet for particular time period. Okay, so he will generate some 100 Mbps traffic towards my machine. Okay, let's say ping command that, if let's say your server is getting lakhs of ping responses across the world. Okay, so your TCP stack will get full. Okay, and you won't be able to serve the request. You must have heard that, once the launch of the any website, okay, you are not able to access that server. Why? Because within the launch of that period, that server is getting bombarded with the request. The TCP stack is full, maybe because of hardware low capability, okay, or the OS issue. That server is not able to handle this much request, and it went down. Or maybe denial of service. Someone has generated many requests towards your servers, and it went down. SQL injection. SQL injection is nothing but, someone has developed a code, and he has used this software to push that code into your server, and trying to get the data from that. Okay, zero-day exploit, in the sense, this is very new attack. Means even the service providers are not known this type of attack, and they have to build their defense. Zero-day, in the sense, this is new in the market. Okay, and nobody has the solution. It's better to stop that kind of traffic to our network till the time developers comes to a solution that, this is the patch for this attack. This is the zero-day attack. DNS tunneling, is that, attack is coming from your DNS port and attacking your DNS queries and all. Yeah, that's it. And then so these are the topics that, we talked about: firewalls, what to allow, what to disallow, email security for phishing, and antivirus, anti-malware, network segmentation, access control. We have to apply these policies in our network to minimize this attack. Okay, access control is very, very important. The person who needs access, we need to allow that access only. We should not allow more than that. Let's say I'm from computer department. I don't have any work with the IT or electronics department. I'm from electronics department. So that person has to get the access control to that folder only. Okay, to that machine only, to that application only. You should not be allowed to entire Deepa2's email or entire Deepa2's network. Okay, only 2-3 people should have access control. Okay, and that should be maintained. Wireless security, well known that, we we are browsing in the open space. That's vulnerable thing. Okay, it's very easy to attack that wireless controllers and all. But I, when you are connecting to wireless network in your home itself, I think we should use encryption keys, some kind of mechanism, and that keys, every password, every key should be changed between certain time. Let's say 1 month, 2 month, 3 months, something like that has to get changed. Okay, and then this is a Wireshark. Okay, where we analyze this traffic, how this traffic went ahead, what we have learned TCP/IP, OSI model, what kind of traffic pattern is coming in, and all this kind of attack. This is Wireshark is a free tool in on if you go to this website called Wireshark. Where is that Wireshark? Okay, wireshark.org, and if you can go ahead and download based on your application requirement, whether it's 32, 64 GB OS machine, you can download that. Okay, and you can analyze any you can see that I have installed for you guys. This is the Wireshark that will look like this. So this kind of permission should be explicit when you're using any application, okay, on your mobile or computer. He has to ask for the permissions, okay, and you should not read, but you should allow this for that particular time period only. We have number of softwares in our mobile, in our computer, okay. When that permission should be granted till that time. Let's say I use this Wireshark, let's say for 30 minutes. That permission should be there for 30 minutes only. Once I close this permission, again he should ask me for this permission. Yes. So when you start this application, any application, he should ask for the permission. It should not, always on. It should not be in any case, any application, or whether it is any applications. Okay, he should ask for the permissions. So at the time of installation, it will ask you. So read that manuals when you are installing any application on your mobile or computer. Okay, so this is the software that we use. Okay, let's say I'm on the internet. On this, I'm going to internet. If your Linux machine, you can check if config-i. If you're on Windows machine, you need to this. Okay, this is the Ethernet adapter that I'm using. I need to capture the traffic which is going over the internet. Okay, so capture. Okay, now this has started capturing this data. Okay, now let's start me browsing this google.com, or let's say Dbatu. We can say Dbatu will be famous. Okay, so this is the Dbatu. Okay, let's come to this. Now stop this. Okay, now we don't have Dbatu's IP address, so we'll copy this. We'll do NS lookup for Dbatu. This is the IP address. Come to Wireshark. There are numerous IP addresses. This is the IP address, and this is the communication that happened from my. So it is Dbatu's AC.in. This is the communication that happened. Okay. So this is we heard about SSL handshake. This is encrypted session. This is over these certificates. Okay. dBATUs and all. This has been given by GoDaddy. Okay. And these are valid till 4/4/2022. That means April 4. Okay. So TCP handshake, we can see handshake. We must have heard about that. This is 134. That is my machine. 1.34, and this is dba2ac.in. Okay, my machine has sent a request to this dba2ac.in client hello. dba2.ac.in has sent server hello. Okay, and this is the certificate that got exchanged. Okay, now I don't have a private IP, private keys with me. Only dba2 has that. So nobody will be able to encrypt this data between my machine and this browser. Okay, dba2 communication. Okay, so the OSI model that we talked about, this is the frame that goes with the on the LAN segment, on the fiber or Ethernet. Okay, this is the data for this particular frame only, not for entire thing. Okay, this is not readable or not understandable. We need to have some this is the thing that we need to encode this 0110 and all. Okay, then this is the physical layer, we can say. This is the second data link layer that we talked about. This is the MAC address. Okay, of the machine. This is the source MAC address. So this is the 39C 23 4B 488. This is the MAC address, and this is the MAC address of my router, not the dba2's MAC address. I said the LAN on LAN side, the communication happens on the MAC base. So my LAN, my gateway is happening. Communication is happening on this too. Okay. Then come to this internet protocol, dba2's. This is dba2's IP address. Okay. This is the request come from certificate has been sent from dba2. Okay. This is the source IP address now. Okay. The packet is transferring again from dba2 to my machine. So reverse has happened. dba2 become the source now to my machine. Okay. And these are the flags that we must have seen in the IP headers and all. Okay, this is on protocol HTTPS. This is secure protocol. Okay, and these are the source port. Source port is 443 because this is not the requester. Original requester is my machine. Okay, and this is the response that is coming from. So now the source port becomes the destination port, and the destination port becomes the source port. So 650.650.779. That will be my one. That will be my machine. That. So 650. Yeah, 6507. Okay, this is the port number 6. Okay, type this 57 only. Okay, this is for this frame. The connection has been established with dba2 on the different port, not on this. So what is that IP address? Okay, so dba2's website is behind one firewall. Okay, we won't be able to see this source port that is coming in. Okay, so it is behind this particular source, these firewalls. Okay, and this is transport layer security that I talked about, SSL version, handshakes and all. This is the certificate information that dba2 has sent to my machine. Okay, this is the signature that he has sent to my machine, and using some certificate, these certificates, dba2 certificate. Okay, this one is the one that got signed from GoDaddy and all. Okay, but this is the certificate that with this the data is getting encrypted between me and my machine and the dba2's website. So it's 12 now, and that's it from my side. If anyone has any questions, please do let me know.
Yes, student. So anyone having question regarding this? Hello.
It's very wide topic, security and all.
Yes, yes, actually.
Yeah, and I'm learning. Okay, so because
But
of zero day exploit, I said, new attacks are coming in the market, and every day the attacks are happening. If you want to see something attacks, there is an site. Threat map. It will give you live traffic of the attacks from where these attacks are coming in now, from states to Netherlands and from United States. It's not like, if this country is trying to attack, okay, maybe someone from any other country is exploiting this, okay, to attack other country. It's not like this is the source, okay. You got my point. So this is not the, but the information is that you will come to know what kind of attacks are going on. So these are attacks on this day, and it is incrementing. So there are every day, every minute, new attack is coming in the market, and still we are learning how to protect our network. So it's very wide, basically, and it is all practically oriented topic.
yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome.
So anyone having a question regarding the this seminar? Because what? Yeah, there is something question. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, thing is that we can do this, okay, on the browser based, okay. So on the browser, if you go to settings, if you go believe proxy, because but it is not recommended to block at the PC level. How many PCs you are going to go and block this traffic and all? Okay, so here you can see. Let me show you that in the Internet Explorer. So here somewhere, I don't block on the browser level. In corporate world, we block. So on the, you are asking about this application layer. Okay, we use firewalls. We use proxies to block this traffic in the corporate world. At the machine level, we don't. There is a browser in somewhere. If you go to internet in browsing, you can allow and disallow any site. But that is not means how many sites. There are thousands of sites. Okay, you cannot list down all these sites. Oh, the site should be blocked based on the cookies. Okay, based on the cookies, that whether it is educational, whether it is pornographic, whether it is training trading, whether it is medical related kind of things and all. So every site has some types of cookies. Okay, based on that cookies we can block. Any other question?
yes. Okay. So actually, you talk, sir. Actually, I have a question, sir.
Mhm.
Actually, sir, we are always talking about whenever two parties are communicating to each others, so that
Mhm.
they are sharing the key either privately or publicly.
Mhm.
So, but when they are sharing the key, so the third party can how that third party can know that there is a something key.
No, so it is very difficult to get. Uh, so let's say, let me try to understand with Paint. So this is source A, okay, and this is destination that you are trying to reach, okay, and you are over the internet, okay. So there is a kind of mechanism that you are trying to, sorry, okay. And now this is the internet that is connecting between source A and source B. Sorry, source A and B. Okay. And you want to have communication between these two. Okay. Whether there are two types of encryption, a certificate based authentication, encryption, and there is a key based that you said. Okay. Key is used locally only. The key is not transmitted over this channel. So this is, let's say this is office A and this is office B who is communicating. Every time, every communication, the key is not transmitted. Key is used. So let's say this is the key. Okay. So let's say in this. So this is the key that I'm using in, okay, and this is the key we use for encrypting a data, okay, and at site A we'll use AES advanced encryption, AES, let's say 256, okay. At site B also we'll ask, you should use AES 256 encryption algorithm at your end, and you need to use this key. We don't transmit this key. We share this key over email. Every, for let's say you are you are at this office and you want to give print at this office. So while that print command and the data from your machine with going to this printer at office B, the data is encrypted using AES 256 algorithm, and that algorithm has used this key, and this key is not shared over the over two parties every time. It is shared at only one time. It is one time only at the time of building this VPN tunnel. Maybe 2 years back, 1 year back, okay? But every time when you try to communicate between A and B, we use that key to encrypt our data, okay, using that algorithm, and that's it. We send our data.
Yes, right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, any question?
And sir, we have one more question.
Right, I'm not able to see. Okay. How can protect public IP, for example? This line IP, how can more secure network? I did not mean how can protect public IP. I did not get means public IP, how to protect public IP. See, public IP address which is over public, over the internet. Okay. So this is, let's say, this is the Bato network which want to go over the internet, okay, and this is where you will have one public IP address pool, okay. To protect that public IP address, as I said in this, okay, you should have intrusive prevention system and the firewalls, okay. So let's say anything that is coming over the internet for DBA2, it is allowed specifically for that source for that particular port only. Okay, nothing more than that. First thing, and we see attack on that also. So we should, unless and until we have this kind of mechanism, prevention system, okay, it is very difficult to analyze because you are over the public. What kind of data you are getting, you cannot control that. You cannot, let's say Google, everyone is using Google cannot block my IP address or dbarto's IP address to search engine and all, but still the attack is happening on Google every day, might be happening. So how they have to analyze this packet, this kind of analyzers, okay? The large volume of packet is coming from dbarto, and we analyze traffic, let's say for a month, for a week, and this is a suspicious traffic based on the traffic pattern. Okay, so based on that we block certain IP addresses. So we need to block on firewalls, edge firewalls, and we should have these prevention systems and all. Yeah, I saw Nalbalwar sir has joined. Hello, sir. How are you? Long time.
Hello, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Sir,
Any question?
if there is no any question, then I think we have to move on. Word of thanks. Yes. Is that from faculty? Like, is anybody having question? Dr. Shivaji Rao Jadhav sir, Nalbalwar sir. Yes.
Use your knowledge to defend. Okay, don't use this knowledge to break anything. Okay, use this knowledge to defend. Okay, again I'm saying it is very easy to track anything over the internet. Every service provider has a log collector. Okay, so is that you can also track IP address of someone who is using for browser? Yeah, we can track that. Ayush Doshi, yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Ekta ma'am.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maurice sir, my voice is clear?
Yes, ma'am. Your voice is clear.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for such a fruitful session. And on behalf of Department of Information Technology, I extend really a hearty vote of thanks to our speaker, Mr. Amol sir, who has given us his precious time to grace this webinar. I thank you, sir, for explaining all the concept of network, how the communication takes place using different protocols, explaining us the detail of OSI model, okay, and making us aware about all the attacks, different type like cyber attacks, malware, phishing, and so on. So thank you, sir. And I'm sure that this webinar will definitely going to add the values in our day-to-day life. Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Now I would like to thank our HOD, Dr. S.R. Sutar sir. Because of his consistent support, we could successfully conduct this webinar session. I would also like to thank Senior Professor Dr. S.M. Jadhav sir for his valuable guidance. Next, further, I also would like to thanks to the coordinator, Professor Baburgaonkar sir, Professor S.B. More sir, Professor R. Kotkondwar sir. Thank you. I also like to thank dbarto alumni for conducting all this session. Last but not the least, I am very thankful to all the faculty members, students for participating in this webinar session. And thank you once again to all. Till then, stay safe and take care. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining this, giving me this
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. We are ending this meeting. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Amol sir.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.